I built 3 companies to 7 figures before I turned 28. The first one was a gym that I grew to $1.2 million in 15 months. The second was a marketing and tech company that I grew to $1 million in 8 months. The third was an online education business that got to $2 million in 6 months. And I did this by following a simple roadmap. In this video, I'm gonna break down the exact roadmap that I use so you know exactly what to focus on at every stage of growth. So here are the 3 things that I will cover in this video. First is going to be the 5 core functions that drive every successful business. The second is the growth roadmap, which helps you understand what to focus on at every stage. The third are going to be the main skills that you need to scale a business extremely quickly that it feels illegal. So first, let me help you understand the 5 core functions. So when I started my first business, I remember feeling all over the place. Every day changed. I was focusing on networking, making flyers, messaging people on Facebook, literally everything that I thought was going to grow the business, but nothing actually did. And nothing felt very clear. It was like I was throwing darts in the dark, hoping that something would hit. Then I learned a framework from Alex Sharfin, and later it was reinforced through Alex Hormozi's mastermind. Every business runs on the same 5 core functions. And when you break it down like this, business stops feeling like a guessing game and it starts feeling like a math equation. So the first function is lead generation, getting attention and attracting potential customers. If you don't have enough leads, you don't have a business. It's that simple. And there are only 4 ways to generate leads. You have cold outreach, you have warm outreach, you have paid ads, and you have content. If you're struggling with leads, you're either inconsistent or doing one of these wrong. The second function is lead nurture, where you're building trust and keeping people engaged until they're ready to buy. Most people don't buy the first time they see your offer. They need follow-ups, they need to see content, emails, text messages, anything that keeps them connected. And this is where the 7-4-11 rule comes in. People need 7 hours of content, 4 interactions, and 11 touch points before they feel ready to buy. So if you're losing leads, you're probably not nurturing them enough. The third function is sales, where you turn nurtured leads into customers. And sales can happen through a sales page, a webinar, a phone call, or an even in-person meeting. At the end of the day, sales is about one thing: getting the person to make a decision. Then we have fulfillment, which is how you deliver your product and service. Most businesses start with one-to-one fulfillment, like personal training or consulting. It works, but it limits your growth because you're capped from time. And in order for you to scale, you need to go from one-to-one fulfillment to group coaching, digital courses, or more leveraged services with employees, so you can serve more people without adding on more hours. The last function is retention and ascension. The goal now is to keep customers paying longer and get them to pay more, because retention is about keeping the customers that you have instead of constantly chasing new ones. Ascension is increasing lifetime value using upsells, premium offers, memberships, or higher tiered programs. This is what separates business owners that are grinding every single month to make sales from those who build a healthy, sustainable business. Once I started looking at my business through these 5 core functions, everything made sense. If your business isn't growing, one of these is broken. Either you're not getting enough leads, you're not nurturing them, your sales process is weak, your fulfillment isn't scalable, or you have no retention strategy. Now let's talk about the growth roadmap. And this will help you take these 5 core functions and tell you exactly what you need to focus on at every stage so you don't waste time on the wrong things. Real quick, if you want free tools and resources to help you grow your business past 7 figures, you may want to check out my Growth Vault. This is where I share all the tools, the strategies, and the systems that I'm using to grow my business and help others scale their business past 8 figures. Inside the vault, you're going to be able to see the exact roadmap that I use to build multiple 7-figure businesses, the biggest levers that moves your business forward the fastest, and you'll be able to find tools and resources to fix bottlenecks so you don't waste time. And the best part is, it's absolutely free. So if you want access to the Growth Vault for absolutely free, click the link in the description. When I started my first business, I had no clue what to focus on. After I learned and applied the 5 core functions, I started to realize that at every certain stage of revenue, the focus of the business has to change. Each stage of business has a specific focus, and if you get it wrong, you're gonna stay stuck. So the roadmap that I'm about to share with you is what I've used to grow multiple businesses past 7 figures and what I wish someone had handed to me when I was starting out. So to go from 0 to 6 figures in revenue, all that matters is lead generation, sales, and fulfillment. So when I started my personal training business, I thought the key was making a name for myself and getting my brand out there. So I went to networking events, I joined the Chamber of Commerce, I made business cards, I put a logo on my car, and I even went to BNI meetings. and none of it brought in leads. I was stuck for 6 months spinning my wheels until I finally joined a program that taught me how to run simple Facebook ads. And this changed the entire game for me because I finally had a way to generate leads that worked. So here's my business broken down in the 5 core functions. So for lead generation, I use Facebook ads offering a free transformation session. For lead nurture, I followed up with every lead, I called them, I text them, and I book appointments. Sales, once they showed up, I closed them in person. Fulfillment, I trained them one-to-one, or I had semi-private sessions if they couldn't afford the one-to-one. Retention and ascension was that I sold 6 to 12 month packages, so I wasn't chasing new clients. That's it. It wasn't fancy. I didn't have automations, no complicated systems. And this was the same model that I applied when I pivoted to online coaching during COVID. I had no automations, I didn't have a website, no crazy marketing. I just had a phone, a calendar, and a simple Facebook ad. And I was taking back-to-back calls, 30 minutes, 8 hours a day, selling $300 programs over the phone. It was grinding, but within months, we were able to scale that company to $24,000 a month. At this stage, your focus is very clear. So for lead generation, pick one method and do it consistently. For sales, get on calls and sell your ass off. And fulfillment, deliver manually and refine your process as you go. Once you hit $10,000 a month, I recommend hiring a VA to handle a lot of the admin tasks, which will give you more time to focus on sales and marketing. To go from 6 to 7 figures, the biggest shift is getting yourself out of fulfillment so you can focus 100% on sales and marketing. For me, this happened when I opened my first gym. So let me tell you the story. I had already tried a bunch of other businesses and failed. So I told myself, I'm just gonna go back to doing what I know best, which is personal training. The problem was I had no money. So I found a gym owner in the next city over and I told him, hey, let me sell first, let me make some money, and then I'll pay you rent. He was totally cool with that. I really appreciate what he did for me. And I started running Facebook ads. I called every lead, I booked appointments, and I sold in person. And in just a couple weeks, I made about $6,000. I paid him $1,200 for rent and I had about $5,000 left over. Now I had cash, but I needed my own space if I wanted to grow. So I signed a lease for a warehouse gym, and suddenly I was broke again. I had no equipment, no setup, no way to fulfill. So I do what I do best. I ran ads on a credit card and I sold my ass off, and I closed $80,000 in cash. And then I used that $80,000 to buy equipment and build the gym. At this point, I was at a 7-figure run rate, but I knew one thing. If I didn't get out of fulfillment, growth would stop. So what I did was I hired my first trainer. I ran the morning sessions from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then he ran the evening sessions from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then I sold nonstop from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we also stopped doing one-to-one training. We moved to large group coaching so we can fulfill on more people. And I ran this model not only with my first gym, but we did it the same thing with the other 4 locations. And that shift allowed me to serve more people without adding more hours. The same pattern happened within my marketing tech and licensing company. At first, I was doing one-to-one coaching. Then we switched to a course model where everything was laid out step by step, and then we added group coaching instead of one-to-one calls. And then a VA was handling all the admin work, and I just focused on selling. With just me, my co-founder, and a VA, we scaled to $1.2 million a year. So at this stage, the 5 core functions had evolved. For lead generation, you have a system that works, so you just need to do more of what is already working. For lead nurture, you add in a little bit more automations, text messages, email sequences, and maybe DMs to keep the leads warm. For sales, you focus 100% on closing. Just make appointments and close. That is the best use of your time. For fulfillment, you may want to hire a coach, another employee, a team member to take delivery off of your plate. For retention and ascension, you may want to add a higher tier offer or a back-end membership to make revenue a little bit more predictable, but you don't need to. So the key to this phase is simple. Get yourself out of fulfillment so you can focus on sales and marketing. To go from 7 to 8 figures, this is where the founder becomes the bottleneck. At this stage, the business still depends on you. Every decision, every sale, every major move. And this happened when I was scaling my online education company. At first, I was taking every sales call myself. But if we wanted to hit 8 figures, that wasn't going to be sustainable. So we had to build a sales team. Setters to book calls from the inbound leads, closers to convert leads into high ticket sales. That allowed us to scale past $2.5 million a year without me being on sales calls all day long. At this level, the 5 core functions evolved again. So for lead generation, we scaled with paid traffic, we had some content going out, and we had referrals coming in. For lead nurture, we had automated email, text message sequences, plus we did live trainings to keep the leads engaged. For sales, we had a dedicated sales team running all the calls instead of myself doing it. For fulfillment, we had a structured team of coaches, account managers, and support staff that ran the business. For retention and ascension, maybe you have a high-ticket mastermind, we had a SaaS partnership, or a licensing model to increase lifetime value. This is where real business growth happens, when you can step away and have the systems built where the company still runs smoothly. So at this stage, the founder becomes the bottleneck. Your role shifts from selling and fulfilling to building and leading a team. You hire sales reps to close deals so you're not stuck in the calls. You build a client success team to improve retention and reduce churn. Maybe you bring on a COO or a growth operator to run the back-end operations so you can focus on scaling. And this is exactly what I'm helping seven-figure business owners do right now, helping them remove themselves from the day-to-day of the business so that way they can build the teams and help them scale past $3 million a year. Now, most entrepreneurs and business owners get stuck because they're trying to use the same skills at every level, when in reality, the game changes as you grow. So let's talk about the exact skills that you need at each stage so you know what to focus on and you don't waste time on the things that don't matter. To go from 0 to 6 figures, you only focus on learning how to generate leads, selling, and fulfilling on your customers. Most people overcomplicate this stage. They start building websites, setting up fancy automations, or worrying about branding before they even have customers. None of that matters if you can't sell. The only skill that matters here are marketing. You need to have a reliable way to generate leads. So pick one method, whether that's ads, content, cold outreach, and get consistent with it. Second is sales. If you can't close deals, you don't have a business. You have to get comfortable talking to people, handling objections, and making offers. And the last one is fulfillment. You have to get great at what you do. If you can't get results and you can't deliver on your customers, you won't keep the customer. Everything else can come later. If you focus on these 3 skills, you can get to $100,000 a year very quickly. Once you hit 6 figures, the biggest bottleneck is you. You're the one selling, fulfilling, and running everything. And there's only so much you can do before you max out. So the key to growing past this stage is getting yourself out of fulfillment so you can focus 100% on sales and marketing, because that's going to be the highest ROI skills and activity. So at this stage, the most important skills are leadership and hiring. You need to bring on your first team member, which will usually be a VA or someone to help you with fulfillment to take work off of your plate. The skills that you need to learn is how to hire, train, and manage people. And once you have a team, you have to learn to teach them how to deliver the results at the same level that you would. Your job now is coaching your team so they can handle the fulfillment while you focus on growth. At this stage, instead of trying to constantly chase new customers, you need to keep the ones that you actually have. This means structuring long-term offers, adding upsells, creating a reason for people to stay and pay you longer. So at this stage, the shift is very simple. Instead of being the only one that's delivering, you train other people on how to fulfill so you can focus on the highest ROI activity, which is sales and marketing. From 7 to 8 figures, the biggest bottleneck becomes you. Even if you're not fulfilling anymore, you're still the one driving all the major decisions. The business depends on you to grow, and that's the problem. If you don't step out of the day-to-day, the growth is going to stall. And to scale to $10 million per year, you need a completely different set of skills. First, it's hiring and developing leaders. You can't just hire employees anymore. You need A players who can take ownership and leaders of departments. This means hiring sales leaders, client success managers, or a second in command or a COO who can think and make decisions at a high level. The next thing is delegation and letting go. Most founders struggle here because they're still trying to control everything. You have to step out of the daily sales, daily operations, and daily fulfillment completely. Building systems and dashboards. You need tracking, reporting, and SOPs so the business can run without you. Every function, lead generation, sales, fulfillment, retention, needs to have clear systems and accountability. And without this, things are going to fall apart when you step back. Another thing to focus on is going to be culture and high-level leadership. As you scale, your company becomes about people, not just the tactics. So you need to be creating a culture where your team is motivated and they perform at the highest level and stays long-term. And at this stage, the shift is very clear. You go from being the driver of the business to building a machine that runs without you.